Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and a very good morning to everyone. This is Dr. Izatul from FTKMA UMP. This is our first virtual class for subject DMM 2533 Fluid Mechanics. I will continue my lecture on chapter 3. As you guys already know, I already informed to you guys that the mid-term examination will comprise from chapter 1 to chapter 3. So in this video, I will continue on my lecture on chapter 3. Before MCO phase, we already learned the first half of chapter 3, which are Introduction to Conservation of Laws, that consists of conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, and also conservation of energy. In addition, we also covered the detail of conservation of mass, which consists of mass flow rates, volume flow rates, conservation of mass principle, mass balance for steady flow process, and special case, steady flow in compressible flow process. However, for the second half or the final part of the chapter 3 are not yet covered, which is about Bernoulli's equation. This is the most important subtopic in chapter 3, and please take note that one calculation question will come out from Bernoulli's equation in the midterm examination. Alright, let's start our lecture today. What is Bernoulli's equation? Bernoulli's equation is an approximate relation between pressure P, velocity V, and elevation H or Y. It is valid in regions of steady, incompressible flow where net frictional forces are negligible. So before we go deep into Bernoulli's equation, I would like you guys to recall on steady flow and incompressible flow. What is the definition of steady flow and incompressible flow? Steady flow is a flow where no change of fluid properties, for example velocity or pressure, at a point of time. Meanwhile, for incompressible flow, the densities of liquids are essentially constant. Okay? Means that only one density and it is incompressible. Okay, now let's get back to the Bernoulli's equation. Here, noted that Bernoulli's equation only valid in regions of steady incompressible flow where net frictional forces are negligible or are small. So, what is net frictional forces? Actually, we already learned about net frictional forces in our previous chapter 1, where we learned about viscosity. You still remember about viscosity? Never mind, we will recap about viscosity in the next slide. In this chapter, students will derive the Bernoulli's equation by applying the conservation of linear momentum principle, and we will learn about both of its usefulness and also limitations. Now, let's recap on viscosity. What is the definition of viscosity and inviscid flow? Alright, the definition of viscosity is a measure of internal stickiness of the fluid when two fluid layers move relative to each other, like shown in this figure. A friction force develops between them and the slower layer tries to slow down the faster layer, which means the internal resistance to flow. So now, let's see here, a friction force develops between layer is called the internal stickiness of the fluid or viscosity. Alright, so let's get back to the previous slide. Bernoulli's equation is valid only where the frictional forces are negligible. Means, if the friction force is high, so of course viscosity also high. Then, if the Bernoulli's equation only valid where net frictional forces are negligible, means that the viscosity is negligibly small, or the friction force, net friction force in the fluid is negligibly small. Now, I already informed you guys in previous lecture that there is no fluid with zero viscosity. If a fluid with zero viscosity, we will call it as inviscid flow. Inviscid flow. However, no fluid without viscosity. We only have regions where viscous flow forces are negligibly small, and we call this as inviscid flow regions. This means that in a fluid, there is no fluid without viscosity. We only have fluid with a particular regions where the net friction force or viscous forces negligibly small, and we call it as inviscid flow regions. Meanwhile, for flows where the frictional effects are significant or are large, then we call this as viscous flows. Now, let's get back to the Bernoulli's equation. It is only valid in regions of steady incompressible flow where net frictional forces are negligible. Means we can remake this sentence, this statement, to it is valid in regions of steady incompressible flow where the viscosity or viscous forces are negligibly small. Or we can this statement to it is valid in regions of steady incompressible flow where it only happen in inviscid flow region. Okay. Alright, so now you already understand the relation between Bernoulli's equation and viscosity. Let's see the key approximation of the derivation of Bernoulli equation. To approximate the Bernoulli's equation, we have to consider that viscous effects are negligibly small compared to inertial, gravitational, and pressure effects. Means that Bernoulli equation, to derive Bernoulli equation, it only can approximate to a fluid where there is a particular region where the viscous effects are negligibly small, or we call it as inviscid flow region. I already informed you guys, since all fluids have viscosity, no such thing as inviscid fluid. This approximation is not valid for entire flow field, okay? Because viscosity exists, but it is depending on the region, in the particular region. Okay, so there is no such thing as inviscid fluid where fluid without viscosity. So the approximation of the Bernoulli's equation cannot be valid for an entire flow field. One cannot apply the Bernoulli equation everywhere in a flow, no matter how small the fluid's viscosity is. However, the approximation is reasonable in a certain regions of many practical flows. This region is called as inviscid flow region, where the net viscous or frictional force are negligibly small compared to other forces acting on fluid particles. Alright, so now you already have some understanding about the Bernoulli's equation. One need to care when applying the Bernoulli's equation since it is an approximation that applies only to inviscid regions of flow. Again, I uh, tell you that the Bernoulli's equation only apply to the inviscid regions of flow. In general, frictional effects are always important very close to solid walls, which is boundary layer, and downstream of rigid bodies, which is wicks. So here we can see the development of the boundary layer and also wick flow behind or downstream of a rigid body. Before we go deep into the derivation of Bernoulli's equation, let's look at the acceleration of a fluid particle. We need to understand the acceleration of a fluid particle in order to understand Bernoulli's equation for steady incompressible flow. The speed of the particle is related to distance. V equal to gs over dt. Okay? S here is distance along a streamline. In two-dimensional flow, the acceleration can be decomposed in two components, which are streamwise acceleration along the streamline, denoted with as, due to change in speed along streamline. And the other one is normal acceleration, which is a direction normal to the streamline, denoted with an equal to v squared over r, due to a change in direction. Please take note that there will be a definition question on this topic, on this streamwise acceleration and also normal acceleration. I won't be focusing on acceleration of a fluid particle, but then I summarize the acceleration of a fluid particle in this slide. Please go to channel and read by yourself. Okay? So let's get back to Bernoulli's equation. Before that, we already know that steady flow is where fluid properties have no change in time. However, let's think. One maybe think that acceleration is zero in steady flow, since acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with time. And in steady flow, there is no change in time. Okay? So acceleration itself is a rate of change of velocity with time. However, in steady flow, there is no change in time. So the acceleration must be zero. Is this statement correct? A garden hose nozzle tells us that above understanding is incorrect. Why? Let's see the definition of the steady flow. Steady flow, previously, we know that there is no fluid properties change in time. However, the perfect definition of steady flow is no change in fluid properties with time at a specified location, but the value of a quantity may change from one location to another. Let's see this nozzle. Let's assume this part as an inlet and this part as an outlet. Actually, even in steady flow, the water accelerates through nozzle. Means the velocity here in inlet, denoted with V1, is actually different with velocity in outlet, denoted with V2. It is actually accelerated. Hence, in nozzle, the velocity of water remains constant at a specified point. Means V1 is constant here, but it changes from inlet to the outlet, V2, where water accelerates along the nozzle. Now, you have an understanding about steady flow and the acceleration of a fluid particle. Let's derive the Bernoulli's equation. Before we derive the Bernoulli's equation, I would like you guys to recap on the conservation of energy. We learned this conservation of energy topic in the first half of chapter 3, where the conservation of energy means energy can be transferred to or from a closed system by heat or work. The principle of conservation of energy means the net energy transfer to or from a system during a process is equal to the change in energy content of the system. Let's see this equation. Conservation of energy, E rate in minus E rate out, equal to the change in energy content of the system. Here, we use control volume or open system. We also can rewrite this equation to E dot in equal to E dot out. Okay, means it is conserved. Or E dot 1 equal to E dot 2. Okay, constant here and also another constant here, equal to another constant. Alright, that is the conservation of energy. Now, let's derive the Bernoulli's equation. Guys, if I just explain on the derivation of the Bernoulli's equation from this slide, I'm sure that you will find it's hard to understand. So, I will include another video on me deriving the Bernoulli's equation. So, for slides 41 until 44, I will skip explaining using slides. Please watch next video.
Okay guys, in this slide, we already learned on the definition and the key approximation of the Bernoulli's equation. In addition, you already understand that the key approximation of the Bernoulli's equation only applies to the inviscid flow regions, where the net friction forces or viscous effects are negligibly small. I am sure that most of you always heard about Bernoulli's equation or thought about Bernoulli's equation whenever you're talking about fluid flow, drag, or lift of an aeroplane. Actually, Bernoulli's equation is not hard at all, and it is totally comparable and analogous to the conservation of energy. I already recapped on the conservation of energy subtopic in the slide. So why do I say that Bernoulli's equation is totally comparable or analogous to the conservation of energy? Let's take an example. Okay, one simple example is using a pipe. Let's assume a pipe where the fluid flow inside it going upwards. Okay, so there's a mass here. This is the inlet and outlet. Okay, exit. So mass here is actually the same with mass here. Okay, and let's take a length for this mass denoted with delta x1 and then length for this mass delta x2. This mass is moving at velocity v1. Okay, at velocity v1, as I already explained in the slide, in steady flow, even though it's steady flow where no fluid properties change with time, but then it depends on the location. It is constant at a specified location, but then it accelerated at different position. So this mass moving at velocity v2. Alright, so now since this pipe is going upward, the fluid flow going upward, there must be one elevation here. We denoted with y1, and then for here y2. Okay, there must be some force pushing the fluid inside the pipe. Okay, so we denote it with F1, X towards this cross-sectional area, A1. Same goes with the outlet. There must be one force acting opposite direction. We denote with F2, acting on this cross-sectional area of A2. Alright. So now, these are all the properties that you needed in order to derive the Bernoulli's equation. Why do I say that the Bernoulli's equation is totally analogous to the conservation of energy? First, when you have fluid moving, so it is kinetic energy. Second, when you have the fluid moving at some elevations, then you have gravitational potential energy. When you apply some force, then you are doing some work. So all of this, kinetic energy, potential energy, and also work are energy. Thus, Bernoulli's equation is nothing more than the conservation of energy. So let's derive work first. Work for this pipe W equal to force times length F1 delta x1 minus with F2 delta x2. We can replace F with P times A. So we have P1A1 delta x1 minus P2A2 delta x2. Here you have area, cross-sectional area, and length. So we can replace this with volume. P1, I write volume like this to differentiate between volume and velocity later on. So V1 minus P2 V2. Alright. So now, since the mass here and mass here is the same, okay, and the density is constant because this is steady flow, steady incompressible flow. Incompressible flow means rho is constant. Okay. Thus, the volume here should be the same. So next, we derive the kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy K equal to delta K equal to 1 over 2 m V speed V2 squared minus 1 over 2 m V1 squared. For potential energy, delta U equal to mg y2 minus mg y1. Now we can simplify all above equations. This is equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3. Okay, so we have learned, especially in thermodynamics, work equal to delta K plus delta U. So just substitute above equation, we will get P1 minus P2 V, because V1 equal to V2 equal to V equal to delta K, just substitute equation 2, 1 over 2 mv squared plus, minus 1 over 2 mv1 squared plus mgy2 minus mgy1. So I like to change or remove one part and second part together. So we will have P1 here, P1V plus 1 over 2 mv1 squared plus mgy1 equal to P2V plus 1 over 2 mv squared plus mgy2. Alright, so let's remove this volume. Okay, remove this volume. Okay, we will get P1 plus 1 over 2 mv1 squared over v. Okay, plus mgy1 over v. Okay. Same goes with this one, P2 plus 1 over 2 mv2 squared over v plus mgy2 over v. Alright, so now here, for this equation, m divided by volume, mass divided by volume, we can change it, replace it with rho. Okay, rho. So same goes with this one. So rho, and this one rho, this one rho. Okay, so I don't have enough space. P1 plus 1 over 2 V1 squared times with rho. M over V is rho, which is equal to density, plus rho gy1 equal to P2 plus 1 over 2 rho V2 squared plus rho gy2. So that is actually the Bernoulli's equation, and here we can see it is totally conserved, because it is the conservation of energy between potential energy, work, and also kinetic energy of this part, the inlet part, and also to the outlet part. So if we have constant here, then it must be equal to constant too. That is why the Bernoulli's equation is nothing more than the conservation of energy. So let's get back to the slide.
So now we already derived the Bernoulli's equation for steady incompressible flow, as shown in this slide. The Bernoulli equation states that the sum of the flow, kinetic, and potential energies of fluid particle along streamline is constant. Thus, kinetic energy and potential energies of the fluid can be converted to flow energy and vice versa during flow, causing the pressure to change. So how to change from the flow energy to pressure? By multiplying density at both sides, we will get P, because from here P over rho multiplying with density with rho, we will get P plus rho V squared over 2 plus rho Gz equal to constant. The first term is actually a static pressure. The second term is dynamic pressure, and the third term is the hydrostatic pressure. Sum of static, dynamic, and hydrostatic pressure is actually equal to the total pressure. Thus, the Bernoulli's equation states that the total pressure along a streamline is constant. Now, this is the summary of the Bernoulli's equation for steady incompressible flow. For unsteady incompressible flow is written as follows. We integrate the first, second, and third term of the first and the second term of the Bernoulli's equation. Now, we have finished on the derivation of the Bernoulli's equation. As you guys already know, I already explained in previous video that we will continue our assessment using Google Classroom. So, I assign you an assignment for chapter 3 on Bernoulli's equation. The question is, write a report on the limitation on the use of the Bernoulli equation and also its application. Instead of me explaining the limitation and application of the Bernoulli, it is better for you guys to read book and write a report by yourself. Please submit to me to Google Classroom, and the deadline will be June 5th, Friday at 12 p.m. Remember, please be on time because there is a deadline here using Google Classroom. Okay, I will deduct marks from the time of your submission. Okay, only for this assignment you can submit using PDF format. Means that you can write using Word file and then convert it to PDF, and then you can submit or turn in into Google Classroom. Only for this assignment. However, for midterm examination, please follow the instruction from my previous video on Google Classroom, where you need to write your own answer sheets on a piece of paper. If it's A4 paper, please take 2 images, take picture of it, 2 images, and then save it with numbering format. Okay, then submit to Google Classroom. Alright guys, we have finished chapter 3 on fluid in motion. Please remember, there will be a calculation question in midterm examination on chapter 3, or to be specific on Bernoulli's equation. So please do your own exercise. See you in chapter 4. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.